evening, and it's such an honor to be with all of you and speak about what I absolutely love to talk about, something that is so close to my heart. And none of you would even need to guess. They've asked me to talk about the colors of India. Maybe I could do this in my sleep. I often feel that to share my colors has not been my profession, but my destiny, and a very happy destiny. I think Indians, we are very intuitive with color. There's no science in this. We don't think about whether a color suits our blue eyes or our blonde hair or, anything at all. We just wear it. We just throw a whole lot of colors together and we are done. And I really hope that's how it will be, because this is really our intuitive intelligence. It's the deep down intelligence of our villages, of our spirituality, as it were, of not necessarily of Neo India, which is possibly sophisticated, though I'm not saying that our villages are not sophisticated. There is a wonderful sophistication in our villages as well. And for me, this is what I tap into. The sometimes over-decorative aesthetic, the simplicity, the hedonism, and above all, the happiness. Because I think at every moment of the day, in every city, in every country, that's really all we need to feel happy. And that really has become a much more conscious goal now. Whether we do it with clothing, whether we do it with our philosophy, whether we do it with our work, or anything. And India has always had color leadership. And I'm so happy that more and more people come to India to seek out colors. I had no idea that I knew anything more about colors or had worked in any way. I just knew that sometimes people told me that colors were a disease for me, that what I considered blue was often a green, what I thought was red was often a pink. And somewhere I think my antennas were quite clued on to keeping the whole feeling of color authentic. And somewhere I managed to make this not only pay my bills, but also to create employment, to use the help of a wonderful team of karigars, of women empowerment, and connect with women of many countries for the same goals. And in a world that's ravaged with guns, terrorism, often philosophies and politics we don't understand, I think happy women make for great economies and for great countries. Would you agree? My father was in the infantry. I studied in 10 schools, which meant pretty much a school a year. My mother loved textiles. So what you really have in front of you is a combination of the two. My nomadic childhood, I was a very timid child. There were no malls, there were no markets in the places I grew up. They were often little more than villages. They were cantonments, they were one-horse towns, and I was way too shy and timid to really have friends. So my friends were flowers. And very quickly, my antennas were sort of drawn to color, to form, to beauty that is saturated and intense and full of freshness. I still cull from these memories, and I use, in my work, yellow undertones, because for me, it's always more fresh, and it traps a bit of the sun, which again is energy and happiness. I wasn't conscious of any of this, but today when my girls make fun of me for the way I talk to my dyer and how I said, मैंने sunset का orange बोला था, मैंने sunrise ka orange nahi bola tha. Or, colors like that. I like to leave it intuitive and instinctive. And interestingly, that's how the world seems to be okay with it. When I take my work now to international capitals all over the world, and where colors are still often black and white and gray, and I go with my 100 colors, I feel that a little bit like a country bumpkin for the first few minutes. But then there is this whole emotional resonance of the human hand, of all the imperfections and perhaps perfection that we pass on with just touch and skills and craftsmanship that is honed over generations and really kept alive in this country. In almost every part of the country, crafts are very alive. In Kashmir, Iranian and Persian crafts are perhaps more alive than they are in Iran. And it isn't like Kashmir has had it really easy. So there is a certain resilience, a certain, if I may use the word, happiness quotient in our craftspeople, in even our poor. I feel the level of angst is so much lower in any Indian slum than, in poorer people in other less developed parts of the world. Look at the way they decorate their homes, or even a slum. I'm not even talking about beautiful Rajasthani villages, which of course blow everyone's mind, right? Rajasthani villages where every 10 kilometers, the turban can change. The stripes can change, the leheriyas can change, and those gorgeous men with their limpid brown eyes, you know how it is. So there's this certain chemistry that goes on everywhere, and I'd like to draw from that. And I think the word really is chemistry. I use it for composition. I like composition with colors, the impact, the emotional impact of one color against the other, and what that can do with our emotional buttons. And more, like I said, chemistry, perhaps even like kisses. And it's the same thing, whether you like it or not, each one of us responds differently to color. And when I was growing up, there used to be a Lakme ad, I don't know if you remember. If color be to beauty, does anyone remember this? If color be to beauty, what music is to mind? Play on. So color does bring something very vital and deep to beauty. And beauty is also something that we need every single day, because beauty brings that moment of perfection, wellness, stillness, and harmony into our lives. And we need it, we deserve it. Women especially, I mean men too, of course, but women especially, I think every single woman deserves a rainbow. Every single day. Because that's exactly what she is. She's a rainbow. Don't shy away from it. Accept the rainbow in yourself, especially if you were lucky enough to be born in this subcontinent like me. I have these really exciting trips in Turkey. The first time not the first time, but the first time I went on work was the same night of the military coup. So as I landed in Istanbul, it was the last flight in, and the city was flooded with tanks. But we continued with our show, and the reason was because everyone thought that she's from India, so she will have some happiness with her. And nobody is going to say no to happiness, right? The next time I went, there was an earthquake in Bodrum, where I was, of 7.8 magnitude. But we still did our show, and I don't know if the pictures came up, and it was still a lot of fun. Sometimes I feel, that when people see my work or my home or my stores, I feel that they say, oh, how colorful. I have two reactions. One, I feel that why didn't they, maybe there's other stuff also that I do. I work very hard on our printing stories, on our technique of printing, where we've married the Bengal school with more North Indian schools, the Bagru and Sanganer, and we've devised what is really our own unique style of printing. And I would like to think that gets noticed too. But I do hear, 90% of the time, I just hear, what lovely colors. And the reason is, of course, the star is our printing technique again, which is ancient enough to use live bacteria, the sunlight, and sources that are ancient and raw. So the colors dazzle. And you still need a day of perfect sunlight to make it dazzle. You need to bake the textile. So, in many ways, I'm a textile designer. But when people see the work, it's still, oh my God, the colors. So there is a part of me that feels that I wish they would notice more than the color. But there's also a part of me that says, that wonders, if I used any color at all yet, I feel it's still the tip of the iceberg. And we still have so much left to say, so much left to experience in our own culture. If any culture is anybody's, I think everything is everybody's. It's all the plunder ground of anyone who wants it, who's hungry enough for it. And I think that India still, each and every part of India, Rajasthan is an obvious state for color, but even if you take the textiles in Nagaland, the weave is so tight that the pigmentation is glorious. The colors are like, you could never see even a solid color because they are woven so beautifully, so exquisitely, and it's such a time-taken and time-honored technique that the colors would really be, even a white, would be the most beautiful white you would see. And just this is how it works. Every single part of India, the color, depth, intensity of not just the textiles, but everything. The food, the stories, the basketry, the jewelry, the way we are connected with our source. The stories, really. The people, the smiles, the warmth, the beautiful women, the music, the food. It's all color, isn't it? So I really don't have more to say, except to say that this has been a really, really exciting journey for me. And I really feel that I'm just taking baby steps here. And I would so love to do it with all of your support because honestly, I never feel alone. The best part of this has been the women who've joined me on the journey, the women who wear Anupama, the women who make Anupama, the women who make our tassels. That is our Women's Empowerment Initiative. We have the happiest, most smiling women ever. And perhaps the most colorful as well. So thank you so much for having me here with you. And for allowing me to share whatever little I know. Thank you so much.